Everybody, I'm Caitlin, one of the youth librarians at Skokie Public Library, and I'm here tonight with my friends Shelly, Gudrun, Katie, and Laura, who are not only four of the coolest librarians around, they make up the Breezy Summer Reads Committee. Before we get into the books, I thought we could talk a little bit about what Breezy Summer Reads is. Gudrun leads the committee, so Gudrun, you want to tell us all about it?
Yes. Our list is a selection of 16 fantastic books for children in kindergarten through second grade. This year, there were 5 librarian friends on the team: Katie, Shelly, Ellie, Laura, and myself. Now, why do we need 5 people? There are just so many good new books. We've read and discussed a ton of picture books, readers, graphic novels, and easy fiction, as well as nonfiction and biographies to come up with the best, most exciting list possible.
It is a really awesome list this year. I mean, really awesome. But tell me a little bit more. What's the selection process like?
Well, I like to think of our lists as jumping off points rather than like this is a prescriptive list. You have to read every book, blah, blah, blah. Kids in K through second grade can be on very different levels in terms of some aren't reading yet, which is fine. Some are just learning to read, or some are already, turning into more confident readers. So we try to make sure that all the books are great sharing books between grown-ups and kids, while some are also for kids who are reading more confidently and others are for kids who might just be starting out.
That was super easy. Feels like that, no problem. I want to know a little bit more about what you all do. What's the process that you use when you are choosing these books?
Well, we read, and then we read some more. Our youth selectors, Christine and Dave, do a phenomenal job buying books for kids at Skokie Library. We also attend author events, conferences, and watch webinars where publishers, authors, and other librarians talk about even more books.
So I'm hearing reading and I'm hearing listening. Sounds right?
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. Do you have a book that you felt really strongly about being on the list?
I felt strongly that The Elephants Come Home by Kim Tomsic be on our list. True stories can be some of the most powerful if they're engaging. With its beautiful illustrations by Hadley Hooper and the compelling way the author describes the friendship between Lawrence and the lead elephant, Nana, this book transports us to Thula Thula Wildlife Sanctuary. As more creatures struggle to survive in the face of human progress, stories like this convey an important message.
This is actually the book our team chose first. I loved learning more about the Thula Thula Animal Sanctuary in South Africa. It's a beautiful place, 11,000 acres of African bush, savanna, and forest. There are impalas, zebras, snakes, monkeys, crocodiles, and many more. None of them have to worry about hunters. What they don't have at Thula Thula are elephants until one day they get a call. Could they possibly adopt a herd of angry elephants? If Lawrence and his wife Francoise say no, these elephants will be killed. Now, taking care of elephants that have been mistreated and bullied really is as hard as it sounds. You'll have to read to find out if Lawrence and Francoise succeed in saving these beautiful giants.
The book sounds really good, but also like that whole process sounds really amazing. Like it must have been a really intense and amazing journey. I'm gonna have to read that one. So when you're picking and you've got the one that you feel really passionate about, is it hard to get everybody on the same page?
We have robust discussions about each book, so it's rare that we totally disagree, but it's important to listen to everyone's comments and feelings about the story or topics covered in the book. It's always interesting to me to see a book from another point of view. Often the discussions we have as a group reading open my eyes to something in the book that I hadn't noticed or focused on in my own reading of it. Listening to other perspectives is always important. And we see this in one of our books called Jo Makoons, The Used to Be Best Friend by Dawn Quigley. Jo Makoons, Azur, is a spunky, confident 7-year-old who sees the world a little differently than anyone else on her Ojibwe reservation, especially her mom, her kokum or her grandma, and her teacher at school. Jojo loves her #1 best friend, Mimi the cat, but she's worried that she needs to figure out how to make a new school best friend. Because Fern, her best friend at school, may not want to be friends anymore. Why doesn't Fern hold a seat for her at lunch? Jojo is a strong, curious, independent first grader. I think we know a lot of those, maybe, who learns to navigate school and life on the reservation in her own way. Her self-assuredness, some may call it stubbornness, is sure to be inspiring for all readers. This is the first book in a series. The second book is called Fancy Pants, and it just came out, and I can't wait to reunite with Jojo again.
Speaking of self-assuredness and seeing the world from a unique perspective, I have Dory Phantasmagori by Abby Hanlon. Dory, a kid with a big imagination, wants her older sister and brother, Violet and Luke, to play with her. But her siblings think Dory is babyish because she has tantrums and plays with monsters. Hoping Dory will stop acting like a baby, Violet and Luke tell her a story about 507-year-old Mrs. Gobblegracker, a robber who steals girls who act babyish. To their dismay, Dory is more curious than scared, asking questions like, does Mrs. Gobblegracker eat rubber chickens? Check out this hilarious book to see if Dory wins Violet and Luke's friendship. With lots of illustrations and large font, Dory Phantasmagory is great for new chapter book readers.
Sibling drama is tough. Dory is told from the perspective of a little sibling, and this next book is told through the eyes of the one who's more mature. I have Doggo and Pupper by Katherine Applegate. Here's a super funny story with lots of pictures that reads almost like a graphic novel. Doggo is a dog who likes things exactly the way they are. He lives together with Cat and is humans. Life is kind of the opposite of thrilling and exciting. You might even call it boring, but that's just fine with Doggo. Then his humans have an idea. This cannot be good. This is the last time the humans had an idea. No doggy costumes this time. The idea this time is a puppy. And as you might be able to imagine, life changes from dull to lively, to say the very least. Pupper is everything Doggo isn't, but used to be. Goofy, silly, playful, definitely messy, even a bit chaotic. Maybe charm school will help? Read Doggo and Pupper to find out.
Trying to fit in and find your place can make you act in all kinds of ways and feel all kinds of feelings. I have Cranky Chicken by Catherine Battersby. Just look at that chicken. Cranky eyebrow, cranky eyes, super sharp cranky beak, even cranky scratchy feet. That's a lot of crank for one small bird. But why? What could make this chicken so cranky? What makes you cranky? Maybe you spilled water on your sandwich at lunch. Maybe your t-shirt has a tag that just feels so itchy. What could possibly make a chicken this cranky? Pretty much everything. The sun is too bright. My tail is itchy. The dirt is too dirty. What could make you feel better? For me, on days when everything is just wrong, being with a friend is just about the best thing. What do you think? Could having a friend make chicken less grumpy? On the cover, we see Chicken with a worm on his shoulder, a worm with an umbrella that looks like a very unlikely friendship. Could a chicken and a worm possibly be best buds? I highly recommend Cranky Chicken to make even your crankiest of days a lot funnier.
I love an unlikely friendship story. Actually, I love pretty much all friendship stories.
Well, then I think you're going to really like this one. Haylee and Comet by Deborah Marcero. Haylee is the kind of girl who makes wishes on falling stars, and she's delighted when a comet falls into her arms. When she and the comet each wish for a friend. Some magic there. They build a friend ship together, get it? And they are ready for some real adventures. It's a sweet, unlikely friendship story with lovely pictures that read like a graphic novel for younger kids.
I love that. So you all have been doing this for a couple of years now. What have you learned about finding really great books for kids?
I find it super helpful to get opinions from kids. When helping children and their grown-ups find books, we often talk about the books they have enjoyed and why they thought those books were so great. Some of the books that kids love the most are the Elephant and Piggy series by Mo Willems. When we find a book with a great sense of humor and characters that we think kids will fall in love with, we really pay attention. See the Cat by David LaRochelle is perfect for Elephant and Piggy fans. It's a fun one to read aloud with a friend where one of you is the dog and the other plays the book. Clearly, this story is about a dog and not a cat, not a blue cat, and especially not about a blue cat in a green dress. And his name is Max, not Baby Cakes. Read to find out what's really going on here.
Laura, did you have a funny, silly book to share as well?
Yes, Gudrun, I agree with you that kids love silly, funny books. And Ducks Run Amuck by J.E. Morris is another surefire hit. When a turtle's pond is taken over by a crazy troop of ducks, mayhem ensues. Can the turtle convince the ducks that he's most certainly not a green duck with a hard shell and regain his peaceful life? But wait, perhaps the ducks aren't all bad since they brought cream pies? This rhyming zany tale is a treat.
I totally agree, Laura. That's one of my favorites this year, for sure. But if there's one thing I know, it's that kids have opinions about unicorns. And do I ever have a book about unicorns? This is The Invasion of the Unicorns by David Biedrzycki. This, on the cover here, is Special Agent 007, who happens to be on an undercover mission. Posing as a stuffed unicorn, one from one of those impossibly maddening claw vending machines, 007 will infiltrate the home of an Earthling family and decide whether an army of alien unicorns should invade planet Earth. No big deal, right? 007 must report back to his fearless leader with intel and observations. Can 007 resist the temptations of earthly life, like story time, snow days, and tea parties to complete his mission? You will have to read to find out. This is a super fun family read aloud.
I also have extremely strong feelings about unicorns. I want to know what made you all want to be members of the Breezy Summer Reads Committee.
Well, I will tell you, but I want to hear your opinions about unicorns at some point, Miss Caitlin.
They're very favorable. They're very favorable.
Good, glad to hear it. So for me, I love hearing everyone's perspectives. Full disclosure, I thought Kondo and Kazumi, which is one of the books on our list, was just weird. And then I kept looking at it through other people's eyes on the committee who loved it, and they thought it was just goofy and fun. And I finally realized what a great book it was and how much it had to say about pushing yourself, doing things you never thought you'd be able to do. Plus, of course, how much easier it is to do scary things when you have a buddy.
I love Kanto and Kazumi. Kanto and Kazumi Visit Giant Island by David Goodner. These two friends have a pretty nice life. Predictable, maybe boring, but they live on an island with fruit trees and berry bushes and flitterbirds and fluffle bunnies. Their lives change when a mysterious bottle washes up on the beach. In it is a map and a message that reads, "We are not alone." What does it mean? Kazumi is ready to explore, ready for an adventure. Kondo, not so sure. Well, the title kind of gives it away. Our two friends embark on a grand voyage in a bathtub boat. Look at that picture. With their map to find out who else or what else is out there. Travel can really test a friendship. Read Kondo and Kazumi to see how these two fare. And if you like this one, make sure to check out book 2 in the series, Kondo and Kazumi Reach Bell Bottom.
It's definitely easier to do hard things with a buddy. And it's a good thing that you all are buddies because I'm on a different committee and I can say that narrowing the books down is so hard. I want to know what you think is the hardest part about being on this committee.
I think the hardest part for me is the possibility that we are missing out on the book. There are so many fabulous nonfiction, picture books, and readers that are published continuously, and we try to read as many of them as we can and bring the ones we love to the group to review. And yet, there's always this feeling in the pit of your brain that you've somehow glanced over the best of the best of the best of the best. One nice thing, though, is that we can shed light on some really amazing, important voices that might not otherwise be found or heard. And one of those books is Areli is a Dreamer by Areli Morales. When Areli was just a baby, her mama and papa moved from Mexico to New York with her brother Alex to make a better life for the family. And when she was in kindergarten, they sent for her too. Everything in New York was different. Gone were the Saturdays at Abuela's house, filled with cousins and sunshine. Instead, things were busy and fast and noisy. Areli's limited English came out wrong, and schoolmates accused her of being illegal. But with time, America became her home, and she saw it as a land of opportunity, where millions of immigrants who came before her paved their own paths. She knew she would too. Areli's story is a hopeful one, and it filled me with so much emotion and pride for what our country can be for others, and the want to continue to fuel that promise.
Yes. And I have Charissas Big Voice, A Native Kid Becomes a Congresswoman by Sharice Davids. There were always people who thought Sharice Davids could never be elected to Congress. She couldn't win because of how she looks. She's a Native American woman, an enrolled member of the Ho-Chunk Nation of Wisconsin. Who she loves, she is gay. And where she came from, Kansas, a state that doesn't historically support Democrats. But in 2018, Miss Davids became one of 2 Native American women elected to Congress. She was a talker from very early on, which is an inspiration for the title of the book. She was curious about everything and loved to learn about people. She learned early on to listen more than talk. She was raised by a single mom who served in the Army, and they moved many times. Her mom was a big influence in her life. She says, "I knew I wanted to be like her when I grew up, focused and fierce, confident and kind, a person who serves others. This is not a quiet story. It's an inspirational, confident, and loud story about pushing forward and learning to use your voice to help others."
I have one more that really made me feel. Milo Imagines the World by Matt de la Pena. Milo is on a long but familiar subway ride with his older sister. While his sister is immersed in her phone, Milo studies the faces around him and makes pictures of what he imagines their lives to be. There is the whiskered man with the crossword puzzle. Milo imagines him playing solitaire in a cluttered apartment full of pets. There's the wedding-dressed woman with a little dog peeking out of her handbag. Milo imagines her in a grand cathedral ceremony. And then there's the boy in the suit with the bright white sneakers. Milo imagines him arriving home to a castle with a drawbridge and a butler. But when the boy in the suit gets off on the same stop as Milo, walking the same path, going to the exact same place, Milo realizes that you can't really know anyone just by looking at them. This is a beautiful story of one family's experience with incarceration, which is a topic that I believe isn't talked.
Yeah, resilience and hope are important. And finding a book that inspires and makes you feel is a beautiful thing.
I have one that's not just a beautiful or hopeful thing, it will make you want to celebrate. Bodies Are Cool by Tyler Federe. Here's a fun one for all ages. With rhyming text and playful illustrations, it's a celebration of something we all have, a cool body. Our bodies come in so many different colors, shapes, and abilities, and we can all find ourselves in this book. This body, that body, his and hers and their body, however you define your body, bodies are cool.
Well, that looks incredibly fun. And it is also the perfect segue for my next question. So I asked you what the hardest thing was about being on this committee, but I also want to know what's the most fun? What makes you want to celebrate?
For me, looking at books with pictures is such a pleasure. Many of these books feel and look like works of art. They're designed beautifully, and they're meant to reach across ages and reading levels and interests, to just be enjoyed, to learn something from, to share together. Laura, do you have one that you want to share with us?
Yes, I do. I have one that, like you were saying, has beautiful illustrations and is for all ages. On the Trapline by David Robertson. This quiet book, filled with beautiful illustrations, whisks us off to the northern wilderness with a boy and his mosham, which is Cree for grandfather. A special visit to the family's trapline, where the grandfather used to live and hunt, is on the itinerary. The story is based on a trip the author took with his late father. Robertson, a member of the Norway House Cree Nation, says he wrote On the Trapline to help dispel stereotypes and myths about life in an Indigenous community and to educate readers. Make sure to check out this gem.
All right, and I've got one too. Someone Builds the Dream by Lisa Wheeler. Do you love our brand new Skokie Library? I hope you've all been here. If you haven't, get over here. It's amazing. Have you ever thought about how it came to be? Ever wondered about the many people that made it happen? Maybe you've watched construction workers work in the cold and rain and snow and sometimes even super hot weather. This book celebrates all those workers we often forget about. Yes, architects are super duper important. They design buildings, but the plan doesn't build itself. I love how we get to peek behind the scenes of a construction site. The illustrations are so detailed, you can really tell how hard these amazing people work. I think you'll really love reading this and seeing how important all the people who build something amazing are, and finding out what it is in the end.
I love this so much. I have a construction loving kid, and I personally find those pictures just incredibly gorgeous. I agree with you. My friends, this entire list is nothing short of amazing. I have been taking notes. I myself have a first grader, so I think this is going to be perfect for her, a lot of these. Before we say goodbye, I have to ask you what is perhaps the most important question. It is a question that has been asked of us many times. It is asked by children the world over. So I really want you to weigh your answer, really like think about it before you, this isn't something that's meant to be off the cuff. What is your favorite color?
Oh, that's so hard.
It is hard.
It is. I am definitely a green person. I love green. I love grass. I love all the green that's around us right now in this beautiful weather.
I have to be honest and say for me it kind of changes daily depending on like my mood and whatnot. But I would say today it's gold.
I think I have to go with blue. I live by the lake and I like looking out to the blue lake, or the dark blue and the light blue, all the different hues of blue on the lake.
Gudrun, I'm going to actually say the same, that blue, especially during summer, is my favorite color. It's an ocean or a lake to swim in, a bright blue sky with puffy white clouds, blueberry pie, dragonflies, blue butterflies, forget-me-nots, and of course, Breezy Summer Reads with the blue pinwheel logo.
Oh,
Whoa, Laura, thank you for bringing us home. With that, I think we have reached the end. You can find all of these books and so many more in the kids' room at Skokie Public Library. And finally, if you can't find what you need or you don't know what you need, we are all here for you. As you can see, Shelley, Gudrun, Katie, Laura, and I, along with the rest of the youth services team, love talking about books. Come visit us in person or fill out a book match request and we will put together a personalized list and email it to you. In addition to our book match for kids, we offer a book match for grown-ups and a book match for teens. You can find that link in our chat or on our website at skokielibrary.info. Thank you so much to everybody for tuning in. Come visit us at the library or join us here in just a few minutes as we discuss our cool summer reads list for kids in 3rd through 5th grade.
Wait, Caitlin, one more quick question.
What
son.
is it?
What's your favorite color?
Oh, I'm going to answer the same way my daughter does, which I think is absolutely accurate, and that is rainbow with sparkles.
Oh
Aw,
I didn't know we could
right?
pick a rainbow.
it goes with
Of
the unicorn.
course.
sure does.
Those with the unicorns.
I love
Thank
it.
you so much, everybody.
Thanks for joining us.
Bye.
Bye.